you are skimming is the title, the plain language summary if available, the abstract, and the introduction, particularly to identify the thesis statement. The first pass could be your key to relevant article selection. Now that you have identified the problem this research seeks to solve, it is time for you to dig out the key points. The novelty and the originality, which is the what of the research. This allows you to comprehend the entire flow of the research and the outcome of the proposed solution. During the second pass, you should start paying attention to the table and the figures, the methodology, discussion, and conclusion. This attempt allows you to gauge the methods used by the authors to collect data and how they present the result of the research, confirming the article's relevancy to your work. Before you proceed any further, it would be useful to put these details you have extracted into an easily accessible form for future reference or to be used to revisit the paper for in-depth interpretation. This is because the research articles you have selected to read and probably reference are valuable resources that add credibility to your research work. By restructuring your notes into a storyboard, excess and redundant efforts of revisiting full text could be reduced. Instead, you would be focusing more on constructing meaning from the context. Since the IES Storyboard applies the concept of critical thinking in its framework, by utilizing it as part of your note-taking, you can then construct meaningful interpretation out of the findings without much hassle. This aligns perfectly with the purpose of the third pass, which is to interpret the details critically to understand the paper in depth. I would also like to stress that there are instances where you would still need to refer to the original text for details to further support your understanding or claims. But with the storyboard at hand, the comprehension process would be much smoother. How to use the storyboard to interpret the context. As a non-native English speaker, I believe I could speak on behalf of most researchers with a similar background as mine, also the early career researchers, that as we read a paper, we have the tendency to appreciate or fall in love with the sentence structures or phrases used more than the significance of the content itself. At some point, we would have highlighted almost everything that sounds perfect rather than just points relevant to our research. And when it comes to including these sentences in our own manuscript, we tend to struggle in paraphrasing them with minimal plagiarism. Back to the storyboard. When I introduced the storyboard in my previous slide as a note-taking template, it should not be mistaken for blindly copying and pasting sentences extracted from the article into this template. Instead, readers like you and me are encouraged to extract the context and phrase it into 3 or 4 sentences of our own. By conceptualizing the notes taken with guided questions, we would be able to improve the accuracy of content extraction, avoid language biasness, and improve the relevancy of article selection. Nevertheless, reducing the chances of plagiarism when it comes to including this content as reference into our future manuscript writing. Here are some questions that could be useful in your storyboard-based content interpretation. By looking at the first paragraph of the introduction, you could justify your research motive or direction, which is similar to the article, addressing the big why or the so what. Next, we move to the why. By identifying immediate problem the article is trying to solve and the relevancy of the solution proposed, you could tweak it to support your work or even address the gap that your research would be solving. The what portion of the article is where you could trace for the novelty and the originality of the research. When reading the discussion and conclusion, have these questions in mind to guide you to extract the appropriate information. What are the significant short and long-term contributions of this research? When implemented, what changes would it bring? What is the magnitude of influence of this research? And lastly, what are the limitations in this research? Answers to these questions don't just serve as reading guidance, but complements well with your research work planning. As we know, literature review is the first step of research planning, and putting churned out interpretations into soft or hard copy notes saves you a lot of time when you wish to revisit the article. With that being said, I'm sure most of you are now overwhelmed by the tediousness of reading a paper. Fret not. In today's world, technology plays an essential role in almost every part of our lives. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the new buzzword and is proving its usage and dominance through every inch of it. My job as a research curation consultant demands me to read dozens of papers within a short period of time. Grateful for the technological advancement, my reading experience has lately been influenced, better still, escalated with the assistance of AI. However, I would like to highlight that using the available online summarizing tools does not replace the process of reading the full text entirely. In fact, my attempt to superimpose the three-pass approach with the summary generated by the available AI tools proved that the machine is only effective for the first two passes. These tools are unable to interpret the details and construct meaning from the article, which, if not careful, could lead to the risk of plagiarism. Moving on, here are some online tools available in the market now, each of which have their distinct approach. First, we have Paper Digest, which provides the users with a one-page overall summary of an academic article. Next, there's iris.ai, which links users to relevant academic papers based on keywords. And finally, we have Scholarcy, where its functions are more or less the combination of the former two tools. It is designed to provide an overall as well as section-based summary and keywords-based linkage to other sources. What's good about Scholarcy is that it has a free browser extension available for those with minimal needs of its assistance. In my case, since there is a demand for bulk reading and storing of information, the subscribed version is more beneficial. Personally, I find the interface more user-friendly as well. Now, how can reading be made easy with the assistance of AI? When compared with Keshev's three-pass approach, AI-assisted reading reduces the time spent on each article immensely, along with the amount of effort invested in extracting the purpose and the key points, specifically covering the first and second pass. Paper Digest sums the entire article into two major sections with less than 10 bullet points. Scholarcy, on the other hand, gives the users summary options customizable to the needs, where one could either get a 5 to 6 bullet points highlight of the article or segmented summaries in case one would like to narrow down on a particular section of interest. These automated key point capturing features AI tools have to offer, in general, speeds up the reading process of full text in a structured and consistent manner. What once required hours of reading and rereading could now be reduced to a few minutes. However, Do bear in mind that the accuracy of the summary, though, is still debatable due to factors like the quality of the article, technicality of the written work, etc. Therefore, personal evaluation and interpretation are required instead of complete reliance on machine. Next, allow me to bring you back to the three dimensions of comprehension framed by the RAND Reading Study Group. What a manual approach to structuring reading couldn't address, which is the reader's background, can now be addressed with the aid of AI. Being a non-native English speaker, or due to the technical nature of a research article, some words or jargon might be alien to non-field experts. Hence, the challenge of constantly needing to refer to the dictionary is real. This tedious back and forth search can sometimes render the reading and comprehension process futile. With the reader's best interest in mind, tools like Scholarcy and iris.ai have managed to reduce the never-ending browsing for definition or literature search process to just one click. On Scholarcy, the keywords or jargon identified throughout the summary with just one click would direct you to Wikipedia to supply you with basic definitions and elaborations of those words, thus making the comprehension process much more manageable for you. Using iris.ai, the process of searching for relevant literature is made easy as this tool is capable of listing academic articles with similar keywords. In a nutshell, when reading a research paper, the process of comprehension is suggested to be more effective and efficient with a structure. From the two reading styles discussed, structured reading approach, consisting of the three-pass approach and the IES storyboard, requires manual conceptualization, which over time enhances the reader's key point extraction skills as well as critical thinking skills. Also, the risk of plagiarism could be avoided. On the other hand, an AI-assisted reading approach benefits its readers with its reduced consumption of time and effort during research highlight extraction process. Also, structuring it conveniently through automation, which helps those struggling with such skills to reach their endpoint easily. By providing linkage to descriptions of keywords or jargon, readers who are non-native English speakers or non-field experts would still be able to grasp the gist of the paper. However, I would like to emphasize that AI is here to assist the process and not entirely replace the need of actual reading. I would like to end my sharing with a reminder for all of you. To read and to understand a research paper, it is best for you to approach it strategically. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Yuva, for the sharing. So right now we will be opening up for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A toolbar. I saw there's one question speaking too fast.
Yeah, that's usually a very common comment that I get.
Hi, Yuva, how are you today?
I'm good.
So I think let me just start off with a few questions that I have in mind. As we know, you did highlight it about using such AI tool, but as I know, research papers basically across different disciplines does have their own different writing styles in terms of the sequence and the structures. So could that reading method that you recommend be applied to all disciplines, for example, like social science?
It mostly can, as long as the paper you wish to read is a primary research article, meaning it's a typical research paper focusing on just one research reporting. So and it's not a review paper. So the basic structure of the paper is the same for all disciplines. So if you are using the storyboard method that I've suggested earlier, or even the AI tool, the content extraction process wouldn't vary that much.
I see. How about, are they able to use multiple papers or a group of papers together when they submit?
Submit for the AI tool, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because at this moment, I'm an active user of Scholarcy. So what happens is that it's an online tool where I can submit I can upload as many papers as I want, even the entire folder of papers. So what Scholarcy does is that it extracts the key points for me in the form of highlights and summaries. And I could always click on any papers that I would like it to summarize, and then look through the summary to get a gist or to get an idea of what the paper is speaking. So multiple papers upload on Scholarcy it's not an issue.
Right. You know, there are sometimes people are still quite skeptical when it comes to new technology. I mean, people are especially, in your opinion, should researchers rely on machines solely, or to what extent should they actually rely on such tool, or by when only they should start using it?
Okay, so well, as much as we would like our lives to be so much easier, the machines or the AI tools that we have at the moment is just there to assist us. It's not there to replace any processes yet. So the AI tools that I've shared earlier, they are there not to replace reading, because I would strongly suggest that all researchers need to read the paper at least once or twice. But the tools that have been suggested over here are there to help in case, let's just say if you've got, you've already, I mean, because as a researcher, you have got a lot of papers that you have read, right? And after some time, it will take you some time to revisit those papers. So these tools are there to so-called refresh your memories. So when after you have read the paper and you have made important notes regarding the paper, as well as the relevance, I mean, regarding the relevancy of the paper to your research, and when you revisit the paper, you don't have to reread the entire paper from the top to bottom. So what you could do is that you could use these AI tools to give you a one-click summary sort of thing. And apart from that, I would also like to highlight that the AI tool doesn't just save time and effort to to give you like a memory nudge. What it does, it also maintains the consistency of text extraction, because being human, when we read something, like today I might be reading this article, I would have something else in mind and I would have extracted different points. And tomorrow, maybe I'm multitasking and I'm scrolling through this article and I might have missed out on the points that I initially thought it was useful. So with AI, what happens is that every single time the paper is uploaded, the precise, the similar context would be highlighted or would be generated for you to revisit. So in that way, there is this consistency for you to revisit to revisit your thought process. So
Right.
yeah, so that's the advantage of using AI. But again, you still have to read the paper.
Right. So I see there are a couple of questions asking related to the pricing model or the subscription model for such AI tools. I think because this session we try not to be too commercial, so but just to be in short, most of these AI tools, they have a free version as well as a paid version.
Yep.
So if you guys are interested, you can feel free to just check it out. Like we'll send you the slides and the links. You can try it out, the free version, and we can have a separate discussion if you would like to have more information. We're definitely happy to help that.
Yeah.
And there's another interesting question here is that few are asking whether are these tools able to link up and integrate with Mendeley?
Okay, yes, I know Scholarcy can, because what happens is that in Scholarcy, there's this citation thingy that you can download, the bib text. So that could then be uploaded into Mendeley for your referencing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think due to the interest of time, I mean, you guys have a lot of questions here. We are happy, but too bad we can't answer them everything here live. But feel free, for those questions that we did not answer, feel free to drop us an email, which is we listed at this PowerPoint slide here, and we will be more than happy to answer them offline. So we can, let's say, just pick one more question. Let me see. Okay, this is one. So someone was mentioning that there is a challenge that I easily forget and can't quite remember what that paper is about that I have previously read. What would you suggest?
Okay. Yeah, well, I've definitely faced that problem because my memory is so limited. So what I would suggest is that create a bibliography draft, or nurture the habit of coming up with the note taking. So what you could do is that when you have a system like, let's just say you use a system like the Storyboard, when you read a paper, you extract the key points based on some pre-framed questions. And when you jot it down, I mean, you can jot it. Of course, now everything we do is very much digital, right? So if you have like a Word file that you can jot it down, and what happens is that in future, when you would like to revisit the paper, you can definitely dig out this bibliography draft and scroll through what you have written, because by having this 3 to 4 sentence summary of the paper that you have actually selected as to be part of your reference, it would really ease the memory process. I mean, for you to recall what you have actually, what's your initial thoughts of related to the paper as well as related to your experiment. And then, okay, I'm going to say about Scholarcy again, because that's one thing that I've been using. So what I like about Scholarcy is that when apart from just summarizing the paper from me, I'm also allowed to include a note related to the paper for my own reference. So whenever I would like to revisit the paper, what I do is that I just click on the paper that has been uploaded to go through the summary, and then I could also visit the note that I've also attached together with the paper, so that it reminds me of what was my initial thought related to the paper and how it is contributing to my manuscript writing or even to my research.
Right. So we're running out of time. So once again, thank you, Yuva, for the insightful sharing. Meanwhile, in order to bring you guys a better experience in our coming webinars, please leave us your feedback by scanning the QR code on the slide. And thank you all for the active participation. We hope to see you in the next session, which is later in the afternoon. Have a great day. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone. I've shared the link for the registration link for the another session for Write Good Research Work. So that session is at 2:30 p.m. Please register.
Right. See you guys at 2:30.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.